everybody. Welcome to Zoology 101. I'm Dr. Wildlife, and next to me is.
Nassie, hello, Entobird.
Today, we are going to be teaching a zoology crash course that we like to call Zoology 101. We've done this at several conventions before. It's always a great hit. If you have any questions or want to chime in at any point during our panel, you can use the live stream chat. We'll both be kind of taking a look at that throughout the panel, though the main bulk of questions and such we'll do right before the panel's end. So basically, let's get started. I am Dr. Wildlife. I am a zoologist. I run a zoo up in the Toronto area. Though I currently work with mainly reptiles, I've worked with all sorts of things from elephants to big cats to penguins and all sorts of creatures in between. My big thing is science communication and conservation education, and basically helping people be inspired to help care about our natural world. I mainly do this through engaging Twitter posts. I do make YouTube videos occasionally when I find time. What is time lately, right? And then and lately have been trying to branch into TikTok a little bit for some short educational clips there. So that's a crash course about me. Nasi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Nassie or Entobird. I'm an entomologist at the University of Guelph. I'm currently doing my PhD and also teaching some courses at the university. My main focus in entomology is ants, but I work with a variety of insects. I have for all my life. I've worked in universities, at independent consulting agencies, and at museums throughout my life. Through the fandom, I do a lot of science communication. I do YouTube videos and Twitch streams and all kinds of things like that.
So, every good course starts out with a basic description of what the course covers. We like to pose this question: what is zoology? Live stream chat. What is your definition of what zoology is? We see a few of you typing there. Mary typing. I'll give you guys a little bit longer. Anyone know the answer to what is zoology? No one. No one does, Nasi. We got a
We've
lot of
got a
work
group
to
of
do.
Yeah, we've got a group of furries that don't know what zoology is.
That's
That's
so.
good.
All right. So, zoology is the scientific study of the behavior, structure, physiology, distribution, and the classification of animals. Thank you. Thank you, Mad Ferret, with the study of animals. Perfect. Zoology is the study of non-human animals. Yeah. For the most part, zoology does cover humans to some extent, but you're right. It's not like purely focused on humans. So what Lassie and I are going to do during this panel is we're going to take this definition and we're going to pull it apart, talking about the different components of zoology and kind of giving you some examples of how scientists study each of those. Right? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the classification of animals. When we talk about classification of animals, we're talking about how do scientists name and group things. And of course, the internet always has their own way of doing things. As we can see here, this is the majestic sea flap flap. Anything you want to say about this little guy, Nasi?
It's beautiful. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Nasi's going to rate the animals as we go along until we get to Nasi's expertise, and then Nasi's going to pop off and talk about their their passions while I'm like 10 out of 10. We'll go back forth. Here we have the danger noodle. Highly scientific name, right? Highly scientific. Nasi, what would you rank this name?
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10 for danger. The danger aspect. Okay. Trash panda. We all know this, right? I mean, everybody, I feel like, has heard the term trash panda, especially with Guardians of the Galaxy kind of ramping that up even more so. Nasi, what is this? What is this name's ranking?
7 out of 10. Too common.
Next, we have the fried egg jellyfish. Chat, do you guys think this is a real name? Or do you think it's another internet meme just trying to get us? Several people are typing. I love that. I love that. Oh, is the slide deck not showing for everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Sorry, chat. It is, we will get to that.
It's just, yeah, I guess on the stream, it's just us looking cute right now.
Oh, yeah, looking cute. Well, we got time for troubleshooting. What's a stream without a few technical difficulties, right?
True, it's true. It's like, it's not unlike, because we gave this at FWA last year, and oh, sweet.
Mhm.
We gave it at FWA last year, and then we had some difficulties with the tiger showing up.
Yeah, there's always technical difficulties. Okay, guys. Okay, you know what? We're gonna be super dramatic. We're gonna go back. Oh wow, look, there's the definition of zoology. I wonder what it is. Wow, we're gonna talk about the classification of animals. Would you look at that? Nasi gives that a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, 11 out of 10.
What was
7
this
out
one?
of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay. That's all you guys have missed. It's not been too much. All right. So fried egg jellyfish chat. Yeah, fried egg. Is this real? Is that a real name? Obviously, it's real photos, but is this a true name of an animal or is that an internet name? Several people are typing. Typing.
I think there's
Oh,
also a little delay in the
yeah,
stream, so
absolutely. I think there's a slight delay.
we need to have like a button to play the Jeopardy music.
We said real. Someone says real.
Nah,
Someone says nah, internet. It's very real. Definitely did not cheat. Okay. Okay. You know, our class syllabus has rules against cheating, so
2 out of
we'll
10.
we'll, we'll see you after class, basically. Okay, fried egg jellyfish. This is in fact a real common name for an animal. It's quite easy to see how it gets this name, right? Because it literally it
Looks
looks
like
like
something
a
I'd eat for a Saturday morning.
yeah, right. Hopefully with not the little glitter packets. It looks like glitter packets
You got to
all
put
over
a
the
little
bottom.
sprinkles on your eggs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sprinkles. Why did I call it glitter? We should be talking we're talking about eggs. Anyway. So this is a fried egg jellyfish. It is a real common name for an animal. Common names are often things that are quite straightforward. People usually name things based on how things appear. Someone said they didn't sign any academic misconduct policy. You can't stop me. Oh, well,
Meet me in VR chat later.
maybe we'll fight. We'll fight at the duck pond.
Yeah.
All right. The Santanic leaf-tailed gecko. Chat. Is this a real common name? What do you think? Nasi, can I get some Jeopardy music?
Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Okay, they're still talking about fighting you in VR chat. So absolutely, absolutely real gecko. Yes, it is. It's called the Santanic leaf-tailed gecko. You can't quite see it in this photo, but it does have a tail that looks like leaf. And someone thought they kind of had like some Santanic qualities to them because they're kind of red and a little creepy, but I quite love them. They're not always like bright red. They blend in surprisingly well and have some amazing camouflage. All right, Nasi, this is all you. This is all you.
This is all me.
This is all you.
So we've been talking about common names, and the issue surrounding common names, of course, is that there is high variability between them, and some people might call something one thing, and it's going to be called something else by somebody. My favorite example of that is like caterpillars. Sometimes they're called worms, but they're not worms. They're not in the same group as worms. So common names have a lot of issues. That's where scientific names come in, and we use a genus species format. So you have a genus is the first part of a scientific name, and then you have the species. And my favorite species to talk about is one that my friend actually named throughout his research. Within insects, there is so many different species, and we're discovering them all the time, all kinds of new things all the time. So we sometimes run out of really scientific sounding names. Um, and so we arrive at something that we find clever or comes to mind for us. And for this one, if you want to switch the slide, this one is called Chalicola charzard. So it's a bee that was identified by a member of one of my the labs I participate in, and he saw when he collected it, oh, the face of this thing kind of looks like the face of Charizard, so I'm going to call it Chalicola charzard. So sometimes you get kind of quirky scientific names, but usually scientific names are kind of the global standard for what we call these things and make sure it's the one thing we're talking about.
Absolutely. Yes, Charizard. We have a star-nosed mole. As you can see, these guys have a very creepy-looking star-nosed there. Very easy to figure out where that common name came from. This one, this one is always a crowd favorite. It's a white-bellied go-away bird. These guys make a sound that sounds like they're yelling, "Go away." It obviously doesn't quite sound like those words, but it is very similar. But it's a white-bellied go-away bird. They make a sound that's telling you to go away, and they have a
Go
white belly.
away.
You go,
Go away.
Nasi's in the tree just yelling, "Go away, go away."
My native habitat.
Native habitat. And Nasi kind of covered this a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to give another example to answer this question of why are common names not commonly used in science? Why do we refer to animals in science using their scientific names? Nasi talked a bit about that, but chat. Let's do an example in the live stream chat. So I'm just going to kind of draw this out a little bit so there's not quite so much delay. But look at this big kitty. What do you know this animal as? Type its name in the chat and let us know. Da, 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 da,
This is going to be the meme for this year. It's like the Jeopardy music.
da, 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 da. Several people are typing. Cougar,
Oh,
mountain lion, puma, cougar, puma, mountain lion, painter cat, cougar, cougar. Someone's talking about a game. It's a cat. Yes, it is a cat. So everything that it's not cheetah. Danger kitty. Meowmer. I do like that. Yes. So mountain lion, cougar, puma, panther, all of those things that you guys are saying along those lines are absolutely correct. So this species actually has 40 different names in the English language alone. They're found all the way up in Canada down to the bottom of South America. And where this animal lives, there's been countless types of people that have met these guys and incorporated them into their own cultures and languages. So almost every group that has encountered this species has named it different things. And this is just in English alone. There's countless other languages throughout its range that have named it as well, including Spanish is one of the other major ones throughout Mexico and Central America and parts of South America, as well as Portuguese and all the countless native languages along the way. This animal actually holds the Guinness Book World Record for the animal with the most number of names. So we use scientific names because if we use common names, people aren't always going to understand what we're talking about. Now, the general public likely would, but if we're talking in a scientific context, we want to be as precise as we possibly can. 40 Shades of Cat. I like that. I like I like that a lot.
that's good.
It's very good. Oh, so scientific. Every time I get to these I'm like, oh god. So scientific names can still be fun. So common names, people like to think that common names are the most exciting part of science in terms of weird, quirky names, but scientific names are also quite crazy. Um, this is a slime mold beetle, and their scientific name is actually named after the Bush administration. Next slide. Enough said. This is a trilobite, and their scientific name is Han Solii because the scientists just really like Star Wars. There's like no other reason behind that. Sometimes you get lucky, you find something, you get to name it what you want. Okay. Jeopardy music. Someone said, "Why do you have a picture of two dung beetles next to each other?"
Oh.
Ooh. Oh yeah. So, some of you may be too young to know who this is, but Nasi, you know who this is, don't you?
Mick Jagger?
Yeah. So, what is he most known for in terms of looks?
The lips.
The lips. The way you said that. Someone found this like prehistoric hippo. This is artist rendering, of course, of what they look like, and take a look at its mouth. Enough said. Next line. Here we go. So, some of you are going to be looking at this, and you're going to be like, what the heck? Everything went from internet memes, and now we're looking at scientific diagrams with words that I have never even seen, let alone able to pronounce. But what you're looking at is different types of skulls. And sometimes scientists use skull types or the amount of skull openings that a creature has to group them together. The N-apsid up at the top left, and I'm just going to say you don't have to really worry about all these like really technical names. We're going to keep it very, very simple.
Yeah, you don't have to know this stuff for the test later. It's okay.
Yeah, there's a test later. Did you guys know that? I hope you knew that when you clicked attending this panel. You have to pass it or you're not, you can't leave the panel room and you're not allowed back in VR chat. You have to
Yeah, you
pass.
can't be a furry anymore, unfortunately. We're sorry.
You go to detention, and when you go to detention, you don't get to go into VR chat. Anyway, I'm just goofing. But so anapsids, that means that they don't have any skull opening. Obviously you're probably looking at that and you're like, what the heck, doc? There's two holes in that skull. So I am referring to the spaces behind that eye hole, which is not the technical term, but we're just going to call it the eye hole. The spaces behind the eye are what we call skull openings. Diapsid on that side is things like reptiles and birds. And then we're going to skip down to that last one, synapsid. There's only one skull opening. Synapsids are what we belong to, or it's the mammals. The reason why I bring all this up is we have this fun creature here. Do you guys know what this animal is? And you don't have to call it by what its actual name is. When you're thinking about what group of creatures this belongs to, what group would you say it best fits in with? I love how everybody is saying that I sound very Canadian, and I can't tell if that is I can't tell if they're goofing with me or if I have just picked up on things so much. I'm from Arkansas, everybody. I say y'all. I go to rodeos. I do barrel racing on rodeo horses. But I have lived in Toronto since October. Dimitrodon. Yes. So what would you say Dimetrodon belongs to? Pre-mammal, reptile, mad ferret. Oh my god. See, we need them as like a guest star one of these days. Absolutely. See, I don't even have to go through the whole thing where I'm like, did you say this was a dinosaur? Well, that's not right. You failed your test. Now you don't get to go in VR chat no more. But this is a pre-mammal. reptile, also known as one of our ancestors. So way back then, this is one of the first synapsids. What's funny is a lot of people like to say these guys are more like reptiles, but these guys actually were able to regulate their own body temperature, just like mammals do, and something that reptiles and such can't. Just pretty dang cool. When we were able to do this panel in person at TFF, we actually had a Dimetrodon suitor up on stage for this segment. So once cons start back up, you guys should definitely attend one of our Zoology 101 panels in person, because we have lots of suitors to act out these scenes, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, continue on. Nasi, do you want to tell them what we're talking about next?
Next, we are talking about animal behaviors. Things get a little weird with animals sometimes. We're going to be covering some cool examples of behaviors that we know of in the animal kingdom.
Okay. Nasi, what is it? What is this creature?
A cougar.
A cougar! Oh my gosh, Nasi, you may be not passing this test either, because that's a cheetah. How could you even get them confused?
I'm sorry. I'm so sad.
You better be.
I am.
So this is a cheetah. We have them up in here because when we talk about animal behavior, cheetahs have probably some of the weirdest behavior at all. So they're a big cat, right? People think, wow, look how fast they are. They go zoom. They're awesome predators. They're crazy cats. They're dangerous big cats. But in actuality, these guys are big old scaredy cats. So the whole meme that cheetah furries often call themselves anxieties because of anxiety. Cheetahs are quite anxious, but you kind of have to be if you're a tiny little big cat out on the savannas where a lion or leopard or even some of the larger herbivore mammals could could kill you. Oftentimes when people are having cheetahs in zoo programs where they're being an ambassador or education animal, they'll often raise them up with dogs, quite often Labradors, and as that cheetah grows up, it actually looks to the dog for support. So if it sees that the dog is okay with the situation, it's like, oh, maybe I should be okay. And they start to get more comfortable with things. We often like to say it's like cheetahs have their own little sport dogs, which is pretty
They're
cute
good
to think
babies.
about. Little good babies. Next up, we have a snow leopard. So a lot of people, there's actually a lot of snaps in the fandom. There's actually one across the room from me right now, listening into this live stream. And oftentimes you'll see like really picturesque, perfect things, the perfect photos posted of them. You'll also see goofy ones like this. And Nasi, why do you think they're holding their tail like that?
Because it's delicious.
Because it's delicious. What do you think it tastes like?
Cheetos.
Cheetos. You just compared a snow leopard to a cheetah.
I did.
Snips.
Oh no. More detention.
Raise your fist in the live stream chat.
No. I'm doing my best. These don't have 6 legs.
Wait, what'd you say?
These don't have 6 legs.
Please don't have. So the reason why they often do this behavior is it is an old adaptation they have to help make sure that the little tips of their tails stay warm. They also use their tail to wrap around them to help stay warm too. You got people raising fists at your comment. I see that.
Oh no.
Live stream chat, rise up. Oh, now we get to talk about dating, right? And you guys are like, "What? There's 2 birds. What are they
There's 3
talking
birds.
about?" 3 birds. Oh, Nasi. So here we have this adorable little bird couple. Little adorable bird couple. So these guys are actually a cute little monogamous group of birds. So they typically only have one mate for life. Some bird species are like this. Some, though, like this heartthrob right here, This Patu, they are actually poly, and they will have as many mates as they want. Isn't that amazing? Wow, science. Look at this heartthrob of a bird, everybody.
Goodness.
Someone said when birds have a better love life than you. Oh,
Oh, that's sad.
F in chat, everybody. F in chat. Okay. Well, we talked a little bit about kind of dating situations, but like, let's talk a little bit about just friends. So these are some cute sea otters. Nasi, what do sea otters do that's so dang adorable?
They smack seashells with stones and they scream.
And they scream. I also find that adorable. Look at all the F's in chat. Just Polly too. Oh my god! Instead of Patu, someone said Polly
Oh,
too.
Polly too. That's
I
good.
love that. I love that so much. Okay, back to sea otters. So they do smack rocks into shells on their belly. What's something they do with their little hands?
Hold hands as they float together because they're the best friends.
Yeah, so they hold hands when they're floating around because they don't want to float apart. Obviously, me and Nasi are like, oh, how cute they hold hands because they're best friends. But out in the wild, it's a safety tactic to make sure that while they're sleeping, they don't get separated and float away.
Yeah.
It's really cute. Someone mentioned that sea otters have favorite rocks, and that's very true. It's very true. Long boys of the lake, absolutely. These guys are actually and the species that we have on the screen right now, these are ocean-faring otters. They are sea otters, but there are otters that can be found in lakes, rivers, and streams. Oh, here comes the fun discussion chat. So,
The good behaviors.
yeah, so we got some African elephants here, and we often think, and maybe not us in this chat in particular, but in terms of the general public, we think of things like partying and going out with friends and sharing a few drinks as something that is exclusively human. But it's not true. And you know why I know that's not true? These elephants here are eating from a marula tree that has over fermented fruit on it. And Nasi, what happens with fermented fruit?
Becomes alcoholic.
It becomes alcoholic. And when elephants eat too much marula fruit, they get drunk. They get drunk. Elephants get drunk. Isn't that crazy? Like a wild animal eating fruit to get drunk. And yes, they do understand that this is gonna affect them. It's something that they do for fun. Oh, goofy little guys. If you think that was nuts, Nasi, can you tell me what this is a field of?
That's a field of flowers.
Flowers. What kind of flowers do you think? Hint, hint. It may be on the sign. It may be on the sign.
Death flowers.
Death flowers. Yeah, probably if you went out there and you started munching on these, you'd probably have a real bad time. This
Real
is a
bad.
this is a poppy field. There's so much poppy in there because this is being grown for the pharmaceutical industry. And poppy is often used in things like painkillers and such like that. It's incredibly strong. Um, there was some farmers that encountered these little guys on their farms. Didn't think anything about it. I mean, they're in Australia, right? There's little wallabies all over the dang place. All over the place. Pretty normal. And then one day they came out to their fields and noticed these little crop circles. And they were like, what the heck happened? Were there aliens? And what happened is these wallabies would go into these poppy fields and they would eat so much poppy that they would get incredibly high and run around in circles and destroy the field. And it's often a thing that happens, and it's comical because we don't think about animals doing these things, and they do. All the wallabies were fine. Disclaimer: everybody's fine. But it is a common thing in Australia and in other places that grow for the pharmaceutical industry as well. Yes, wallabies getting high. Yeah, absolutely.
All kinds of organisms get high.
Yeah. And one of the common things that if you go to any tropical place, like a resort or such, and you're hanging out and having drinks, tourists actually have a problem of monkeys stealing drinks. So don't leave them out. They will go after them. Oh, I skipped ahead too far, but this looks like a Nasi slide.
Yeah, it
Oh
is.
yeah,
And
go.
on the topic of organisms getting high, uh, there's kind of a crossover between the arthropods that I study and some of the mammals and the vertebrates that Dr. Wildlife studies. These are lemurs that will snack on some millipedes, and millipedes have a variety of toxins that they excrete, but one of them is cyanogenic glycosides. Cyanogen is very toxic, but in small doses, it can give you a really good mental high, as you can see in the next slide. This lemur absolutely bugging out. They start to salivate like crazy. They rub the millipedes all over their body, and they just like they go wild. It kind of has a dual function. They do it also to get rid of things like mosquitoes and ticks and fleas and stuff because the compounds do get kill a lot of parasites. But it also just feels real good.
Does he? Yeah, yeah. So enough about weird behaviors. It's time to talk a little about a bit about weird structure and physiology. But before we get into that, I just want to bring up how people are saying Zabumafu. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Some Zabumafu after hours. Life was hard after the Crap Brothers. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
God.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh. Anyway, structure and physiology. So people like to think that, if you have a house cat and they like lick your hand or whatever, it kind of tickles and sometimes it's cute. It's like, oh, my cat is cleaning me. And yeah, they are. But I just want to tell you a little bit about those adaptations that they have on their tongue. So those are little keratin like spikes, and cats have evolved these basically to lick fur off flesh and flesh off bone. Obviously, on a house cat, it's not that big of a thing, right? Because, like, you should have an indoor only cat, as I say angrily and shake my fist at the sky. So they're likely not going after prey and such. But if you're a tiger, it is a very beneficial thing to have all these little spikes on your tongue because it helps you actually get to the food that you need. Oh gosh.
Mm. Yes, and then we start to get into Nazi's weird and gross stories. But
But
uh,
the main event is saved for later in the slide, though.
oh,
Like, yeah.
yeah, it's good. But so there are all kinds of weird physiological features that have appeared in all kinds of different organisms, and insects, because they're so diverse, have quite the crazy range of things. I could probably talk for days about the weird things that insects have on their bodies, but this is one of my favorite ones. Houseflies, which you'll see flying around your house, they have this really weird way of molting. So going from larvae, the grub that you see, to a pupa case, and then to get out of the pupal case, slide,
Mm.
they have a face balloon. So for
Hmm.
some reason, this evolved in flies where in order to get out of their cocoon, like a caterpillar would turn into a butterfly, they push the top open with a balloon that comes out of the middle of their head. Then it closes up, seals up, and it never is used for the rest of their life. They just have a balloon to become an adult. It's kind of like those balloons used in gender reveal parties, but better.
Oh my god. Which leads us to zoology and pop culture. So this is our last segment of Zoology 101. We've kind of given you the basics of what zoology is, what it means, and now we're going to talk about how zoology often pops up in pop culture. So, movies, for the most part, try their best to be as realistic as they can be or related to real things. Sometimes they get it terribly wrong, and sometimes they get it quite right. So, what movie is this from, chat? You should know. This is pretty easy. Because of the delay, I'm just going to sing some Jeopardy music for a little bit. Finding Nemo. That was quick. That was quick
Yeah.
that time. They're getting used to it. They're learning that they need to be ready to type attention. So this is Finding Nemo. On the left, we have a clownfish. On the right, we have a blue tang. And chat, tell me about the relationship between these two characters at the beginning of the movie. How would you say they treat each other? Someone said Cars too. Cloud, I see you over there. I see you.
Mm.
Finding My Son, said Son, is the name of the movie. Taken the Deep Sea.
That's good.
Hmm. But I want to know about the relationship or lack thereof between these characters. How would you guys describe how the clownfish acts to the blue tang? The beginning of the movie, at least, or should I say, for the majority of the movie? Someone said they don't remember. Aren't they
That's
just kind of
appropriate.
like, eh? Yeah, yeah, they kind of are. I would also say that the clownfish. Someone says realistic. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's straight to the point. It is realistic because the clownfish is kind of irritated at the blue tang all the time. They don't quite get along, and that's how it is in real life too. So they don't have in real life. This species does not get along at all. So Finding Nemo is actually surprisingly accurate for that. They someone said they don't judge each other because these fish are above stereotypes. It's true, but they do judge you. The clownfish does. Someone said this is like a third grade test. Well, yeah, we are making it a general public friendly thing. So this is a panel for everybody, regardless of how much scientific background they have.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Ooh,
I can't
getting
remember what
excited.
comes next after this, but I feel like it's something that Nasi can
Talk about
chime in on. Yeah,
from
what?
personal experience. I'm sure
Oh,
some of you know the Aliens movies
yeah.
where there are body snatchers, creatures that lay an egg inside of you and then it slowly grows and bursts out. Well, there is truth to that in real life.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Nasi, this is all you. You can. Well, actually, let me describe my feelings when I saw this tweet. So, for those of you that were watching the segment earlier before the den tour, and I was like, "Y'all ready? Y'all ready for some bot flies?" So here's bot fly time. So Phil Torres is an entomologist. He's quite active on Twitter, and I took this screenshot myself because I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. So I'm just going to read it off, and it says, "Well, one of my mosquito bites from Peru keeps tingling, and this is me praying that I finally got a botfly." Nasi, do you want to explain to me why an entomologist is so excited about this?
So, as an entomologist, somebody that studies insects, and particularly if you work in South America or in some tropical place, it's kind of a rite of passage that if you happen to get a botfly, that you let it grow and you give birth to your very own insect out of your body. And Phil Torres has this pretty cool Twitter thread. I say it's pretty cool about their experience with the botfly and raising it from themselves. And I actually have experience with this because I've done field work down in South America, in Ecuador and Peru, and I happened to get a botfly in my own arm. And this was one of the things that I happened to experience and happened to do. I let the botfly grow up in my arm. It doesn't feel too bad. It's like if you've ever had a bad zit, it kind of feels like that. It's just, I don't know, sore and a little uncomfortable. And then you can see its little head pop out every now and again
Oh,
from your arm, and you can
oh,
give it little like kudos and baby talk,
oh,
and it's so nice.
oh,
Remembering my child. And then
oh.
eventually it'll pupate in your arm, it'll fly out, and then because it can't survive in a temperate environment, like when I had mine released, like it died pretty quickly because of the cold temperatures. So it's not a big deal. It's not invasive. It's not an issue. You don't have to worry about getting it if you're somewhere in the US or Canada. But yeah, South America, bot flies are a thing. They lay their eggs inside of you and then they'll grow up. They don't kill you though. So it's not like aliens in that regard. You're all good there.
They just crawl around inside you a little bit in one little
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's your
and
little
bust out of your
baby.
skin. Oh
It's your little
God.
baby.
Oh God. Okay. Well, guys, this is a picture from when we did this panel. Or actually I should say this was we do host like an adult version of Zoology 101 that's called Drunk Zoology. It's an after dark panel that we host at cons. And this was during that. So we had Bolty, who's an artist over on Twitter. We had her drawing live drawings of all the topics we talked about. So she would draw like the drunk monkey, and she would draw like the majestic sea flap flap. And then when Nasi got to the botfly story, this is what Bolty drew.
It's not a
and that,
bad story. No
and that
reason to shame
and
you.
that's Nasi's Doe character. You can't see it in the photo, but it has a little Bolty's drawing a little botfly bump on it. So that was a time. That was a time and a half. And this is us learning of
Reactions.
learning of it. This is I love the blurriness of the photo because everybody like no one could even take a good photo of the situation because we were all shook. Ari can't even has hands on their face. Saber's just like, did the audience hear this? And then me and Nasi are just like laughing hysterically because even though I am disturbed, I found it quite funny to see all the non-scientist reactions to it.
Yeah.
Oh, people are asking if you named the fly child.
I didn't name it when I originally had it, but I'm pretty sure at the con here we named it Mitch.
Mm.
Him, Mitch. Very good child. Very good baby. Actually, I want to add on to it this year a little bit because there was a professor in the department that I work with that got absolutely his back was just covered in bot flies from one of his trips, and then he was going from field work in Costa Rica immediately to field work in Antarctica, and they videotaped it. It's on YouTube if you want to find it, and it's actually like it went viral a few years ago. And he published a paper recently about the first occurrence of bot flies in Antarctica based on his experience.
Oh my god! I'll say
Yeah.
so. That's what all it takes, right? To like, if you want to write a scientific article, you like you get a botfly baby and you go to some like weird location that botflies don't occur in naturally, and you're like, I'm gonna write a paper about this. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that as my way to get another paper. Go to some random location.
Yeah.
Okay. So next weird topic, and you guys may be thinking, oh, well, it's Pokemon. So like how can this be weird? Two, anything's better than bot flies right now.
Mm.
Someone shared a worm in the live stream chat. So that's pretty great. But I'm sorry to tell you, this is not the year of the worm. This is the year of the botfly. So all botflies only in the chat, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is Pokemon, and scientists are just plain strange, especially the scientists that are on Twitter. Nasi and I are a perfect example of that. So is Phil Torres and his little botfly child. But for the most part, scientists are just as heckin' weird on Twitter as furries are. We like to think that in the furry fandom, it's just furries that have drama or like weird debates on the internet, but scientists are no exception. I didn't put this in the presentation, but there was actually a whole worm debate on Twitter back in 2020 where oh God, someone actually shared bot flies in the chat. Oh,
No,
okay.
those are coconut worms. They're
Oh,
actually
coconut worms.
delicious.
Oh, what?
Yes,
Okay.
they're
Well,
eaten by a lot of Southeast Asian like cultures. It's pretty good. They're
nice.
delicious. You can get them canned actually from a lot of South Korean like convenience stores and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, moving on, right? So here we are with Pokemon, and one one of the biggest questions is, why do Pokemon all come from eggs? Like there's clearly mammals and birds and all sorts of stuff, but they all come from eggs. And scientists one day woke up and chose to have this as a big discussion because it's always on our minds. Why are they all from eggs? And this person posed the most important question of our lifetimes. It said, which Pokemon have cloacas? To which someone responded and said, asking the real questions the government doesn't want you to ask. I don't even know what to say about this because it was just like the Phil Torres situation where I was like, what is happening on Twitter right now? This is
Yeah.
oh my god. So it went on and on. It says, all right, but can we seriously talk about aspects of Pokemon biology that have really bothered me as a biologist? Like, are all the mammal types monotremes? Why has live birth never evolved? How much does a fire type have to eat daily? And you can still find this thread on Twitter, and I encourage you that I like the Pikachu meme that was shared in the chat. You can go on Twitter, you can find this thread, and it is quite lengthy, but is the funniest thing ever because people just go on and on and on trying to figure out exactly what Pokemon are as related to the animal kingdom. Or as someone just said in the chat, Pokemon taxonomy.
Yeah. And it's kind of amazing. Like when you go through these threads, things like the Phil Torres one and this one, you can find some pretty popular or big scientists, like people part of like major universities, like, or do like big science communication, like channels and shows, like the Green Brothers and everything, like popping in on these things to talk about them, no matter how weird they get.
Yeah, yeah. Case in point, zoologists are just plain weird. I'm weird. Nasi's weird. All these
Yep.
people that we were talking about. Uh, all of you little animal nerds in live stream chat. The zoologists we're just weird, and I think that's one of the awesome things about this profession is because it's a bunch of animal geeks that are nerdy about a lot of other things too, and somehow we've chosen this as our career field or as our profession. But you know what? That's what makes this career so exciting, is what makes it so fun to teach classes to people about the topic, whether it's something at a university like Nasi and I have done and continue to do, or teaching one of these panels here with all of you in this Discord.
Exactly.
So, we have a few minutes before the end of our panel. We were curious, do you guys have any questions for either of us related to our career or animal questions or anything like that? Pokemon Zoology 101. Can we ask Professor Oak to study Pokemon botflies?
Oh, that'd be good. I wonder. I don't know actually. Is there any Pokemon that are based on like parasites?
I don't know. There has to be, right?
Yeah.
There
Oh
has.
yeah. Shelder and Slowpoke. Like I'm pretty sure that's like a parasitic relationship. Like the idea is that the Shelder slowly consumed the Slowpoke's mind or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is one. Oh, someone asked, so how did you get into zoology? Oh, what's the quickest way that we can summarize this? Ooh.
Born into it.
Born into it. What do you mean? You're
Well,
like,
we were both like super into it as children, and like
oh,
we really like, I mean, both of us, I think we got super into like nature and reading about nature and animals and just exploring our backyards, and then we pursued it throughout our lives and got into it
Mhm.
through university.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone asked, are a lot of zoologists furries? Ah,
I wouldn't say so. I would say
yeah.
like just the same amount of the population of scientists are furries as like you would imagine the general populace is.
Mm-hmm.
I think zoologists are more okay with furries. Like from what I've known and like met people talking about what I do with the science communication stuff, they think it's a really fun and cool avenue of doing this kind of thing. But I don't think they are furries themselves.
And I would say that when it comes to those who work in the zoo and aquarium world, and there may be even some of you listening right now, I think a lot of zookeepers are very reluctant to quote unquote come out as a furry. Not that I'm comparing that in any way to like coming out as gay or trans or anything like that, but I mean coming out as in making it known or being open about being a part of the fandom. I think zookeepers are reluctant to do that because there's so many stereotypes out there. And I think that's one of the main reasons why myself and Nasi are just so open about the things we do in the fandom, not only within our careers, but like with friends and family, is because we want to show people that being in the fandom is nothing to be ashamed about and help bust those stereotypes. I mean, I even run a Telegram group that is for zookeepers and aquarists who are furries. We're not that big. There's about 20 or so of us, but I've just found them accidentally and indirectly through things like Facebook and Twitter where they come to me and they're like, hey, I'm not like open about being a furry, but I would love to meet others in the field. And it's been quite nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Nasi, what does your field work consist of?
I've done quite a few different things. I think the biggest part of my field work is going out and just doing diversity assays. So, collecting insects that I find in the environment through active collecting or using my butterfly net, or putting out things like pitfall traps and Burley's funnel traps. I mean, you can look those things up. They're kind of cool. But yeah, most of my field work has been going out and doing that with museums and with zoos and with the university. Right now, I'm doing field work looking at ants in agricultural fields, what their diversity is, and then I'm taking that back to the lab, culturing ants in the lab. So I have over 250 colonies of one species of ant in my home right now. And then I'm doing ecotoxicology experiments on them, seeing how the pesticides we use in agriculture impact them, because they give a lot of services to agriculture in terms of preparing the food that we eat, like bees do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a question for me, someone asked how my zoo's holding up and is it open in any way? Yeah,
Mm.
so we actually just opened back up at the beginning of March. We were closed for over, well, I guess it was over 2 months. We closed on December 14th and just reopened. Ontario went back into, well, I should say, my particular region went into a lockdown on December 14th, and then like the day, I think it was Boxing Day, the Ontario went into a stay-at-home order for the entire province. And so that stay-at-home order was just lifted quite recently, and then my region was allowed to open. So thankfully, we are open. We're doing quite well. We're working with like 25% capacity, so we're not quite making up the cost of running a zoo in our admission right now, but it's not that bad. Um, you know, it's quite different. All right. So we got time for one more question. Um, oh, it looks like Nasi accidentally got dragged out of this voice call. Oh, Nasi's back. So we got time for one more question. Let's see. I was going in order. I'm just kind of looking through this really, really, really quick. People are sharing dick pics. uh, oh, okay. So I'm just gonna pick this one. It's not the most beneficial to the hotel. Actually, yeah, it is beneficial. Someone said, "Have either of you ever accidentally superglued yourselves to a specimen?" I hear this is a thing. No.
It is. Oh, yes, that happens so much. It's unreal with insects. Like, you have to be very quick with trying to get like ants on point. So that's how we preserve them in museum collections: is glue them to a little piece of card. And by the end of a couple hour span of pinning and pointing ants, like my hands covered in glue and covered in ants sometimes.
hmm Yeah. I mean, I've had that happen to me quite often. I don't always work with like specimens in the same way that Nazi does, but I have accidentally glued myself to things just fixing things around my zoo. So not in the same context, but it it has happened. So looks like that was our last question. Um, Nasi, oh, you got your avatar back up. So, we're just gonna wrap up here. Everybody, they're asking if they passed the test.
Hmm. I would say that they've been pretty good beans today.
Yeah,
They
I think.
passed the test. 10
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
10.
10 out of 10. I was gonna say for good beans, they get B pluses.
Bees. That's good.
Bees. Bees! You all get
Bees.
bees! You get
Bees.
bees! The whole chat bees! So anyway, we gotta wrap this up. The con's gotta move on with some other nice panels and events. If you would like to see more content like this, I am on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff under Dr. Wildlife. I am very easy to find. Nasi, where can we find you?
Entobird on all platforms as well. Twitter, all that kind of thing.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, it looks like the con is going to be wrapping up soon. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of Furnal Equinox. Be sure to check out all the wonderful other panels and events if you haven't been in the VR chat world yet. I highly, highly recommend. Even if you're just playing on desktop, it is quite fun. There are bees in the chat now. There's bees everywhere. Bees. This is how we go out. This is how we go out. But yeah, we're always available for questions and such. If we don't get back via DMs, be sure to just tune in to one of our streams. We both stream on Twitch pretty regularly, and host fun science streams there.
See you later.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your con.
Welcome back, guys. Marty here again, and we are now on the dance stage. Well, the top part anyway. And I'm here with Dodge Horse, who is going to be your next host. I'm going to leave you in his very capable hands once we transition on to the next segment here. But for now, we're going to show this off a little bit, since you guys probably saw some of the craziness happening last night with all the dancing and jumping and dancing.
Yeah, that's right, Marty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hung out here most of the evening last night, both up here on the lounge and on the dance floor, and it's a fantastic time. They've done an awesome job with the world. I don't even know what I was expecting. It just totally blew me away. It really kind of solidified that con experience for me. So I'm super glad to be a part of it.
For sure, yeah. Same here. And I know, like, whenever I go to cons in person myself, the whole thing with the ballroom and the big dance room, it's always a huge vibe that you get. You really enjoy it. I know I do. And here, now that we've got these pool ball setting triangles floating in the air above us, we've got some great graffiti here. Look at that, Marty rules. I don't know who wrote that, but they're right. All sorts of crazy cool stuff, and this is just like a stadium arena crazy thing, and it ramps it up like 10 times what you would normally expect in real life. And I don't know, it's a really neat place. We got the bar over here. It's pretty cool. There's all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I totally agree. It's an awesome, not only the vibe of being an in-person con as a baseline, but what we can do with VR too, and just kind of make things float in midair like this, make things highlighted in different colors, and this like these cool glow stick features on the tables, the drinks behind the bar, like it's just awesome.
I did it. I made them.
Yes.
I made them. Look at them go. They're just kind of like free floating. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you can
cool.
just kind of just let it spin there in midair. Because gravity's optional here in VR chat.
Right. Yeah. Although, it's unfortunately regular, like down in the lobby when you jump, it's like moonwalking. I love it.
Yeah, I've actually been to a world that had kind of like moon gravity one time, and I remember thinking like, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah. Well. See, we got our DJ lineup tonight. Oh, look who's first, Dodge. Look who's first. That's going to be pretty awesome. And we got, we got Ronnie and Adi and Beta Monkey and then Raver at 1. Cool. So yeah, we had a great lineup yesterday. I was really enjoying those sets. then we got Saturday and Sunday. We got like an all-star DJ lineup here. This is really cool. I'm super psyched for tonight. Yeah. So now we can move on to our next segment, which is going to be a panel, and that's going to be the continuation of the fursuit making panel from yesterday. It's going to be Fursuit Making 102.
Yeah, and I believe that's hosted by Sora.
It is. Yes, you're right.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're going to transition over to that now. Stay tuned, guys, and keep it here. Thanks
We'll
so
see you
much.
soon.
Enjoy the panel.
Hi there. Thank you for attending Pixel Purrfect. I hope you're enjoying the virtual experience this weekend. This event is available for free, but it's supported by your donations. You'll also be supporting our charity, Hobbit's Wildlife Refuge, and their efforts to place bird feeders near long-term care homes, which helps both birds and the elderly. You'll also be supporting Furnal Equinox as we prepare for an in-person retro rewind, hopefully sometime next year. You can donate by clicking the banner below on the live stream page. Thanks for your support, take care, enjoy the weekend, and don't forget to wear your mask.